Okay.
Does this work? Does this work? Yeah. Grayson can hear you? I don't know if Grayson can, but they can.
We can?
Grayson. Hey, Grayson, you throw on the program next time?
Check, check. 1, 2, check, check. Check, check.
I got you. You sound good. Good.
You guys want me?
Lynchburg marches back to the Hill City with Virginia, and a big-time clash for this Lynchburg team looking to get the wheel. This series history is the better of Lynchburg. You feel like the Hornets really want revenge on this Tuesday evening.
Yeah, absolutely, and what a game that was. We'll get into that a little bit later, but both of these teams coming in with a strong start to the season. William Peace 2-1 coming in on the road, looking to kind of play spoiler, keep that momentum up from what they had last year. Lynchburg, 3-0 start this year, looking to build that confidence. Offensively, they kind of found their footing early, which is good with such a young class, continuing to find how they mesh and gel together. That's a big piece of this game tonight.
It has been a committee effort for this Lynchburg team in all three games, all three victories. And reload, and Kevin, we've seen so many performers having two Gene Edge all-tournament players over the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this
William Peace that has really delivered in a big spot. So you've, well, how about Henderson, who could be one of those all-conference players at the end of the season?
Yeah, absolutely. Henderson, and she's been super efficient for this team. 42% from the field, shooting 44% from three. She's been a killer so far at the early stages of the season. 2-1 record, a lot thanks to her averaging 16 points a game.
Now let's go back to Lynchburg. Taylor Brown, one of those Gene Edge all-tournament players, and when you look at the size of this Lynchburg team, they've been trying to replace Bree Spainhour early in the year, getting some length down low.
She's been a very big piece to this 3-0 start for the Hornets.
It's going to be a game of size. to Joe Brennan to Joe. On the roster, Coach Allison Nichols picked up her 50th win with the team that is also but there's a lot of optimism for the squad going 3-0.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially with that tournament over the week. You go down there, you come out with 2 crucial talking points as a coach. You got things that you can clean up and get better at.
Off the ground, and you feel like with this squad that she's put together, a lot of winnable games in this non-conference slate. Piece trying to get back and win against an ODAC opponent. Center circle goes Lynchburg's way. We are underway here in the Hill City. Once again, starters for Lynchburg. They have Jacqueline Jacobisi and their start. As the ball goes to the wrong side of the timeline, the referee will intervene, perhaps a clock issue. So early in the Hill City, I mean, even in that first sequence, you're already starting to see just the level of transition we're going to expect tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And this right here is one of these calls for the officials. You kind of have to pick your poison, right? You're calling it a change of 2 different changes of possession. Otherwise, it would have been a backcourt call thanks to the tip pass. But Lynchburg never fully lost the dribble. So you're keeping it on at a 17 on the shot clock. That was the confusion there. But, yeah, I love what you're saying. You're talking about pace of play. I mean, these 2 teams, this could easily turn into a track meet with the way that these 2 offenses love to just run and gun.
It's a Lynchburg team that loves the 3-point shot. Tried to go give and go down low, and Brooke Kaysen loses the rock. Out of bounds for a turnover, and that's a stat, Kevin, that you can really expect to be a difference maker for either side today.
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at turnovers, William Peace averaging 20 turnovers a game. Lynchburg kind of in that same category so far this season. They're averaging 18.3 this season, so it's one of those things where if you can clean those up, you got to get looks on offense. Best way to do that is to keep the ball in your possession, as easy as it sounds.
Elena Randolph misses the mid-range. Now Brooke Kaysen back down low and caught for the travel. So another turnover will send the ball William Peace's way. That's something that they have certainly capitalized on in recent games. You look back at the stats that they've dominated. They forced 29 turnovers against Newport News Apprentice. That was a win on Saturday, 75-61 at home. Surveying around the perimeter. Nice defense from Vandergrift. Going down to the ground was Perry. And there will be a break called once again. So the referee is going to send it to the media timeout, an early one, 8:45 to play here in this first quarter. No score in Turner Gymnasium. We'll be right back. Welcome back in Turner Gymnasium. William Peace calls. And so a quick timeout. It serves as the media. No score. Pacers send it to Randolph. Drives and kicks outside from the corner, and a three-pointer falls. Bree Oliver gets the first point. Reversals for the Hornets. Jacobisi in her second start out to Vandergrift. Three-point specialist clips the right iron and out.
Yeah, and I think immediately what you're seeing from both of these offenses, they're looking for that fast-paced driving kick offense. Get to the basket if it's there. If it's not, look for one of your shooters. It's back-to-back possessions from both the Pacers and the Hornets, trying to get to the cup and kicking it out to their shooters.
You already see some of the three-point looks from William Peace as Lynchburg draws the turnover. Coach Nichols talked about how the Pacers have a similar style to the teams they saw this weekend, but they probably shoot the ball a little bit better. Lynchburg knows a thing or two about good three-point shooting as well. Beautiful dish down low. Littlejohn laces it off the backboard, and Lynchburg's on the board.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit in the season opener here in Turner, but that right there is an evolution of the game from both Littlejohn and Kaysen that, you know, over the offseason, it's little things that don't go unnoticed. Kaysen dropped off a beautiful dime, Littlejohn on the cut. That's what we talk about when we talk about those driving kicks. It creates so many opportunities for your guards to be so versatile.
Now Brooke Kaysen trying to go north to south. It's out of bounds, and Lynchburg keeps the basketball. Audra Petty at the scorer's table, who had just one of the best openers you're going to see from a freshman as she comes into the contest. And Kevin, you think about the freshmen that are turning into sophomores. And obviously, Petty, one of those candidates to have a big-time breakout sophomore season. As she shoots her first shot, it's off the iron. I mean, what's the expectation after a game that was that hot?
I think the best thing you can say is the sky's the limit, right? And that's kind of just really the term to use for the entire offense. Whenever they get hot and they get rolling, they can be one of the best offenses, you know, in the conference. It's just one of those things to continue to build on game by game.
23 points, 9 boards in that contest. Once again, another turnover. Vandergrift down to the free throw line to get it. And Zakira Henderson finds the basketball. Sophomore from Greer, South Carolina, also playing with her sister on the team. So there's a tie-up down low, and the jump ball will stay with the Pacers. 6:42 to go here in the first quarter, and Kayla Terry enters the contest.
Yeah, last possession by the Pacers there. Henderson with a beautiful dish off inside. Just better defense from Brown to cause that jump ball before the shot could go up. It's a little bit of contact, but the officials saw jump ball first, and that was the call on the floor.
So we continue playing on. Coach Nichols has a very deep bench this year, and so expect a lot of those bench players, the 6, 7, 8 roles, to even get those starter minutes. Here's Randolph. One-on-one dishes out. Zakira Henderson in 3 starts, averaging 16 points. William Peace's player to watch. Bounce pass out to the top. Another dish down low. And it counts for the Pacers. Nice zigzag passing in the paint.
Yeah, and another possession that started inside out. They worked the low post, kicked it out, and then that allowed kind of that clearing out process in the paint. When that happens, you open up the opportunity for those backdoor cuts, which is what the Pacers were able to hit there, convert on an easy 2.
As evidenced by Lynchburg's starting lineup today, putting Brown and Jacobisi in. Got to go tall against this Pacers team who has another turnover. Another corner 3 that cashes home. Exactly the start you would prefer if you're Coach Bollinger and company. Now Kayla Terry kicks out to Audra Petty. Trying to find the block, the extra dish to Kaysen. One more, and Kate Littlejohn runs into a traffic jam down low. Hornets will keep the ball.
And early on, Pacers defense playing absolutely phenomenal, pressuring ball keepers on the outside of the perimeter, forcing them to drive. When they drive, they've got that help side there. You're running into 2 or 3 bodies in the paint. No passing lanes for the kick out. Pacers creating turnovers, creating jump balls, and giving their offense a spark on the other end.
2 on the shot clock. Have to hoist off the front iron. Now Kaysen, the offensive rebound. Back out to Terry, ready for 3, and misses everything. Opportunity in transition, out to Randolph. Ready to penetrate, and Kaysen charged with the foul. That'll be the first of the ball game. And this is going to be a moment to remember. 8 months later, Bree Spainhour has rehabbed day after day from a torn ACL, and she is back in there for this Lynchburg team for the first time this season. What a moment to remember. Dual sport athlete also with the volleyball team, which we'll have to give them their flowers going to the NCAA tournament for the first time. Of course, Spainhour not a part of it this year, and immediately going down low on the post. Dish out to Kaysen from the corner. Can't connect. How about that, Kevin? I mean, just the rehab process alone, such a tiring and difficult process.
Yeah, and she's doing a beautiful job. You saw it first possession on offense, seals the defender, gets the ball inside, draws 3 or 4 defenders around her, kicks it out. They wasn't able to capitalize on the offensive possession, but she's going to go to work on the post here again.
Trying to get that ball up, doesn't have options. Now outside to Kaysen. Trying to get to the cup. Outside to Petty. Another three-pointer, bottoms. And the first 3 of the game for Lynchburg.
That's where this offense can be so deadly at. When they work that post, you have so much attention down in the low block, you forget about the number of shooters they have that can just make it go at will from the outside in big numbers.
That's exactly what you want from Petty. Someone who has been such a consistent three-point shooter in the top portion of the conference last year. Better move from Anya Henderson. Count the bucket and 1. Henderson averaging 7 points and 7 rebounds per game. As a slew of substitutions enter the game, Selah Parker gets her first minutes for Lynchburg. Kristen Barber enters for William Peace. And Kevin, for the Henderson sisters, 1 point of emphasis. Both of them almost every game on that triple-double watch. They can fill the stat categories.
Yeah, absolutely. It's safe to say that, the entire team kind of runs around what they do, both offensively and defensively. You see a tough bucket there on the offensive end for the Hornets.
Selah Parker steamrolls down the court, gets her first points, and as many possessions. 4-point ball game in the early going here in Turner Gymnasium. And a little too rough is Parker. She'll be called with a personal.
I'm going to tell you, Gates, just keeping an eye on Bree and her impact. You mentioned 8 months to the date, her recovery process for a torn ACL, and that was kind of the one factor. I was able to talk to her at the end of last week, and she was talking about, I've been able to kind of get in shape the last couple of months. Her contact, she's been able to go full practice, a full go. What's been scary to her team is just how quickly she's rehabbed, right? Because it's unheard of, 8 months on a torn ACL to come back. But so far, she's coming back, and she's played, a very pivotal role so far on both ends of the court for Lynchburg.
Turnover right in front of the Lynchburg bench. The Hornets are loving it. And tell you what, Bree Spainhour obviously is one of those difference makers, and you look at last year's performance, probably right outside the all-conference list, but the stats will not lie. She led the team with 6.5 rebounds per contest, scored in double figures 12 times, and averaged over a block per game. So you're talking about a stat filler. You got one in 25 in white.
Yeah, absolutely. If there was a team MVP award given out at the end of last season, I think it had to go to 25. Her impact, like you said, over a block a game. Defensively, she was out rebounding everybody. I mean, she's just such a big piece and showing you the offensive footwork that time, unable to capitalize on a basket. But she's just been such a pivotal piece for this Hornet, team her entire tenure. Every time she puts on the Hornet jersey, she's going to be an impact player to watch. So having her brag, even outside of the stat sheet, it's just such a big momentum and energy boost for this team.
Couldn't cash in the reverse layup to get things started. Now it's Griffin down low. Counted off the glass. Anaya Griffin, one of the difference makers for the opposing squad. Or beg your pardon, Zachariah Davis. Now Lynchburg has to hoist 21 on the shot clock. No, they'll say it's a deflection. William Peace frustrated on the other bench. Zachariah Davis has her first points for William Peace. And now Ashley Vandergrift looking for hers off the mark. Pacers want to accelerate. Henderson tries to get to her spot, misses everything. Patty with the rebound. Pass down low, Spainhour. Ready to get that first bucket, goes up, and she'll have a free trip to the charity stripe. Draws the foul on Davis.
And I think that's where her game comes in, to be so impactful with the Hornet offense. They're such a prolific three-point shooting team, but the Pacers are doing a great job keeping shooters in front of them and limiting their space to get open. Shots aren't falling for Lynchburg, and when that happens, you kind of got to look inside. And Spainhour's been that body on the inside for Lynchburg in the past, and just seeing her kind of go back to work in the low post, it's a good thing to see.
Sakira Henderson re-enters the contest for William Peace. That's an important point as Bree Spainhour has her first of the year. And Kevin, something we've talked about, this is not necessarily any different than a normal season for Bree Spainhour. Obviously, she's rehabbing, but typically with that volleyball team, she is missing the first portion of it as the three-pointer from Petty clips the iron, and here's the offensive rebound. Parker, extra one to Littlejohn, off the glass. The Hornets loving the committee effort down low as the timeout is called. A one-possession game and a good one here in the first quarter. We'll be back from the Hill City.
First ever NCAA tournament berth.
Got to ask you one more thing. Last year, Bree averaging 11 points per game, 6.5 rebounds. Do you think it gets better this senior season?
We'll have to wait and see, Evan. Back
That's
up to you guys.
Thank you, Joe. And, of course, I feel like everybody in the gym has a very hefty expectation for Spainhour. Obviously, that rehab season is important. You got a lot of feeling things out, but already looking like she's on the right trajectory. Here's the jumper from Petty in the paint, swatted away, but the Hornets have possession, 14-6 on the shot clock.
Yeah, I think immediately, kind of like we touched on earlier a little bit, the Pacers' defense on the outside perimeter doing such a good job just limiting the three-point shots. We know Lynchburg's a running gun team. You see Vandergrift put one up and knock one home that time. It's that announcer's coach. As soon as you talk about how good they've been defending the perimeter, Vandergrift gets open.
It's automatic like the car transmission. 3 points for Ashley, and we're all knotted up at a baker's dozen. Downstairs, the extra pivot from Davis, but the referee calls the travel. Tell you what, early in this ball game, we've seen so many players already coming off the bench. You think that's a testament to just the pace of play we're seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're seeing it just on your screen. It's back and forth, shot or steal or turnover or whatever it may be. Just possessions not getting under 10 seconds on the offensive end with the shot clock. So you're just seeing these possessions happen so fast. You got to have some fresh legs ready and available kind of at every stopping point in the game.
Okay, Littlejohn, someone else who is always off and running. Junior guard from Holly Springs, North Carolina, trying to get to the cup. It's out of bounds. Lynchburg will look for options. Surveys to the corner. Here's Vandergrift again. The spin. Now outside. Here's Audra Petty. Another spin move. Left-handed in. Oh, wow. Switched up to the southpaw side to cash it in for two.
Yeah, beautiful job there, and that's that development we talk about. Petty, a three-point shooter, crafty, but getting to the rim, the spin move, finishing with the offhand, beautiful job. It's another turnover on the offensive end for William Peace.
And that is not a good foul for the Pacers, as it's going to send Zachariah Davis back to the bench. So Amaya Griffin returns to the contest. Transfer from Lewisburg College. This is a team, Kevin, that has really benefited from its transfers on the roster. There are 4 or 5 that are all getting ample playing time this year as Littlejohn races to the hoop, can't get it to go. Now kicks to the corner. Few extra dribbles, and this track race as it continues. Tough layup from Inslee Perry. And Littlejohn tried to draw the foul at half court, and the referee calls it. That is a nifty move from one of the veteran guards as Perry hit the hardwood hard. We'll see if it is a shooting foul. Yes, it is. Referee signals 3 shots. That is a coach's nightmare.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think the concern on that is you kind of see both players get up a little bit shaken. You saw Perry get up, kind of spent a little bit of time down on the hardwood, and Littlejohn was able to pop back up, but shaking out that shooting wrist a little bit. You know, it's got to be a concern. You don't want to see that, especially at the end of one of these quarters, you know, a half-court heave.
The referee going to the monitor, and we would have to expect this is time-related to see if there will be any ticks added to the clock. No doubt that it was a foul, and like you said, a tough collision. You don't want to see those, especially early in the season. Kate Littlejohn able to earn 3 free shots and a chance to put the Hornets ahead after a very tight first quarter. Littlejohn rattles home the first.
So Littlejohn is an absolute trooper there, because I'm not sure if the cameras are going to pick it up or not, but the red lights were still going around the scoreboard, and as soon as she was letting that ball go, they just flashed and went off. Beautiful job, beautiful concentration. Maybe that's what we need more of.
I know, maybe you make that happen again as .4 is added to the clock. Littlejohn will have one more. Tell you, when you've embraced all the elements outside on the hoop, I feel like there's nothing that will really rattle you. But Littlejohn can't get the final 2, and that will bring us to the end of this first quarter. 10 minutes, and very odd style finds us at a 16-15 scoreline. Lynchburg off to the races and ahead by 1 on the other side. Impactful this year is one of the freshmen, Jenna Sawyers. Taylor Brown, the mid-range, can't rattle home. To the bucket. Tadero after the quarter. Sawyers under the bucket, 9:26 here in the second frame. down low, and Lynchburg can't maintain possession.
So, Gates, with the pace of play, some of the turnovers, some of our technical difficulties, you kind of get a feel that this is kind of like we were talking in the break, like a foreign feel of a game so far. Just the play styles, some of the things that we've seen happen on the floor and off the floor.
And you're seeing William Peace capitalize, try to add those wrinkles as Amaya Griffin gets another 2 to fall. I mean, if you're Coach Nichols, I think you'd rather have it now than in the middle of February, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this game has just been so unorthodox in almost every, facet. It's kind of, while we want to say it's what we expected to see, it's had some wrinkles in there kind of from both parts. It hasn't been the cleanest basketball on either offensive end, yet they're finding a way to knock down shots and sort of capitalize on the offensive ends at times.
Canada kicks out to Sawyers, trying to get all the way around and in. That's a strong-looking move from the freshman. 2 points on the board, makes it a 4-point game. And this William Peace team, you got to give them their flowers for the last few years. When you look at the progression, a 4-win team last year, but this has been a squad that has just really stood out. 10 of the 18 Pacers are freshmen after they had just 11 on the roster last year. Canada trying to find an opening, and Griffin doing what she can to get separation, and looks like Taylor Brown will pick up the foul under the bucket.
Yeah, I think with this Lynchburg lineup, you saw it on the last offensive possession, briefly there with the bucket. It's not your shooting lineup, but you're still going to go with that same philosophy. You want to work kind of that inside-out mentality. You get it down low, you kick it out, running around the perimeter until eventually you get into a ball handler's hands and just catch the defense napping a little bit. And that's exactly what happened, able to get an easy 2.
And this time a 3 that looks really easy for this William Peace offense. Started to come alive here in this quarter. Kristen Barber sinks it to make it a 7-point game.
And as much as I want to talk about Lynchburg finding their stride, William Peace doing a beautiful job offensively with their game plan, especially working that perimeter shot. We've seen them knock down 3 or 4 big shots from the outside, really uncontested from Lynchburg. Lynchburg defensively relying on that crash, not allowing anything in the box. We saw them kind of get burned by them in the first couple possessions of this game. Now it's the three-pointers. They're leaving them open, and William Peace is knocking them down.
Kayla Terry enters the contest. Feels like the Pacers have really taken advantage of any miscues in this game. Caitlin Canada. Hand off to Kaysen. Trying to find her spot. This Pacers defense just a step ahead. Brown. Turnaround jumper. That is a strong-looking shot for the junior.
Yeah, beautiful move down low. Brown was calling for that ball for about 5 seconds before she finally got the entry pass from the corner. Down low, able to go to work. Just one of those shots that you trust. Fading away over the defender, creating some space for yourself.
Henderson back outside to Barber. A few dribbles, can't fall. This Lynchburg team has to recognize that a quick game like this, there can be a lead change really at the drop of the hat. But this time, it's Anya Henderson ready to roll all the way to the bucket. Down the well to make it a 7-point game.
Yeah, it's another one of those easy possessions in transition. You run the fast break. It all gets set up from the defensive end. Just the pressure they are applying. You're seeing it here now. The perimeter pressure creating so many steals for this Peace team early on. That time it's going to bite them as Taylor Brown's wide open on the low block.
I mean, that's as poetic as it gets. That extra bounce pass, and you see a wide open player down low. Back and forth we go after William Peace dominated the first few minutes here of the second quarter. Henderson ready to go to Griffin. Left it a little too long. And Spainhour and Petty re-enter the contest for the Hornets.
And we talk about kind of the peaks and valleys, of a season, but how about in a game? I think we've seen it from both offensives so far. You find a couple possessions, you string together a couple of good rhythm possessions. You're knocking down a 3-on-1 end, coming back, getting inside, but then you're also seeing those 2 or 3 possessions in a row of turnovers or tipped passes or whatever it may be. I think you're still seeing that filling out process, that you got to work out the kinks of early in the season.
No doubt about it. It is still a very young season. I think until you fully get out of November, you're going to treat it in that non-conference slate like a learning stage. That's what Lynchburg has done, even though they're 3-0. A start that will be very favorable. This team used to tight games as well. 10 lead changes in that NC Wesleyan contest as Brown can't get it to fall. Now Kayla Terry ready to pick it up, and foul on the floor. Hensley Perry out in transition. Her playing time has improved throughout the start of the season, 28 minutes versus Apprentice last time out. Earning the trust of that coaching staff. Outside to Randolph. A few extra dribbles right to the cup. Off the backboard and in, and Coach Nichols doesn't like it. It's another touchdown lead as we've seen here in the last few minutes. William Peace sticking out in front here in Turner Gymnasium.
Hi, I'm Barbara Rothamel, Director of the Dara Museum of Art here at the University of Lynchburg. I'm really excited that we can show you what we do here at the Dara Museum. We hold exhibitions throughout the academic year, changing them at least once during the course of each semester. Our exhibitions range from thematic concepts, works by specific artists, and really fortunately this spring we have works of art by our art faculty. So we have many opportunities throughout the year for confronting various social issues, examining the aesthetics of art, historical aspects, and so on, with our collections of American and European paintings, drawings, prints, and sculpture, as well as the art of.
Welcome back in Turner Gymnasium. Joe Brennan's here to tell us about last year's game. Joe?
Thanks, guys. Tonight marks the 10th all-time meeting between both sides, dating all the way back to 2012. Last season was one of the best bouts between these two teams, as William Peace snapped an 8-game losing streak against the Lynchburg Hornets with a 58-57 victory on their home floor. Jess Worthy led the way for the Pacers with a career-high 22 points. We'll see if the Pacers can recreate the magic here tonight.
Thank you, Joe, and so far so good for a team that only has one win in the series history. They add on to it with another two-pointer down low. You're just seeing this transition really favor the Pacers, as in their namesake for this contest. Skipping it up to a 9-point lead. Petty searches around the perimeter. Here's Kaysen just trying to lob it up. One-handed, it almost looked like she was throwing an alley-oop. Now Randolph the other side, off balance, still gets it to fall. Oh, that is impressive.
Absolutely. Tough bucket fading away with the offhand. Randolph able to go up off the glass that time, get another two, add on to this lead for the Pacers.
Hornets trying to quell the storm. Down low to Spainauer, wraps around, going up, almost gets it to fall. Already saw that she had her first point and a return from a torn ACL. Obviously will take time to get her back into game shape and game speed, but Kevin, we've talked with Coach Nichols here in the last few weeks. This has been a process of even getting her back into practice and getting her cleared and ready to go. She's looked really sharp so far.
I'm going to tell you, she's been, to me, it looks like the most efficient down low today. We've seen Lynchburg have the opportunities for some of those entry passes, and whether the receiver's just not ready to catch the ball and handle it or a defender is able to poke it out, the possession's just kind of stalled out whenever it gets down low. They've had the opportunities there, and Spainauer kind of been the only spark down low consistently so far when she's been in the game for this Hornets team as to catching it strong and going up to the rim.
Second one rattles in. Jacobisi back into the game for Spainauer, and so as we anticipated, it's just these spans of a few minutes where you're going to see her on the floor trying to start getting reacclimated. Safe to say there's going to be a problem once she is. Here's Anya Henderson. Kicks to the corner. Extra dribbles this time for Bree Oliver. Take it away. Pacers, a collision right near the stands as Amaya Griffin went charging to the hardwood. Entry pass with 4:12 to go here in the quarter. Randolph, once again, down low. The dish, and the shot falls.
And Lynchburg that time doing a really good job denying everything, but sometimes, man, better offense just beats good defense, and that time it was Griffin with a good move on the inside.
Jenna Sawyers once again trying to get that wrap around. We've seen it a few times from the freshman. This time no good. Anya Henderson pulls her own stunt on the other side. Acrobatics to make it a 14-point game. Lynchburg's got to be careful to make sure this one doesn't get away here in the first half.
Yeah, it's just that pace we talk about. Lynchburg just not ready for it on the defensive end. Didn't get set. Pacers running at them 100 miles an hour and able to get by them for an easy bucket on the inside.
A lot of isolation offense on one side. The Pacers getting everything inside the paint. As the foul is called, pair of Hornets ready to go back in the game. This is a William Peace team that had 48 points in the paint in their last time out. They led by 6 at the half against Apprentice and continued to extend that lead.
I'm going to tell you, so far, they look like a complete offense. They're working so well. You saw them come out with that fast-paced energy, and it amounted to some inside buckets early on. Lynchburg, after that, made a change after the first media timeout, guarding the inside a lot more, so it was more of those kind of drive and kick passes for the Pacers. They started knocking down those shots. So for Lynchburg, now you're kind of scratching your head. Do we defend the perimeter? Do we stop the three-point shooting? Or do we limit the inside? And when you've got a team guessing on defense, it means your offense is clicking at a pretty good rate.
No doubt. As chances at the free throw line once again for William Peace. It rattles out. Bree Oliver, junior from South Carolina, averaging 6 points, 2 boards a game. Sat out last season as Ferrum has made its transition to Division II. This is a William Peace team averaging just south of 70% from the field.
Yeah, you look at that number, 70% from the field, 60% from three-point range. I mean, they're figuring it out on the floor. Every offensive set they run is looking pretty good.
Not much else to change as a straightaway jumper connects. Audra Petty gets it to pay, and all of a sudden this Lynchburg team has a little bit of life in this gym. Randolph, extra dribble, weaves through traffic. And it's Lynchburg basketball.
Yeah, and how many times did we see that in that game against Marymount? It was a close game for a majority of that contest, and it was Audra Petty kind of coming out in off the bench, knocking down a 3 or 2, and just providing that spark for Lynchburg, getting them going offensively. And again, you see it there. Lynchburg kind of been in one of those slumps offensively this quarter. Petty comes back into the game, knocks down a deep 3. You got to think that could be a spark this Lynchburg offense can utilize to end the half on the right note.
Terry down low to Jacobisi. Extra one to Canada. How about that tic-tac-toe to get an easy look inside the paint?
And again, one of those looks for Lynchburg. They've had those seal and rolls all game. It's just been either a fumble with the pass or a tipped pass. That time, everything a smooth operation and an easy bucket for the Hornets.
Just over 2 minutes to play here in the second quarter. This Lynchburg team is not necessarily shooting poorly, right at 40% in the field goal range. But the defense just hasn't been able to keep up. Audra Petty, the rebound. Searching around, here's Kayla Terry. Terry really starting to come alive early here in the season. Just under 7 points per game. Sayla Parker trying to use the glass, doesn't work. Ripped away the rebound. Pass down low, Jacobisi pivots and puts it off the backboard.
Yeah, beautiful job from Lynchburg. Second chance opportunity, fighting for the loose ball. Gets it outside. Next thing you know, you look up, got a wide open player in the paint, knocking down an easy 2.
Corner jumper nowhere close. Now jump ball right under the bucket. William Peace will keep the basketball, 1:17 to play.
I'm going to tell you, Gates, I like what you said. Lynchburg not necessarily inefficient from the field. And we already talked about William Peace shooting the lights out of the ball here in the first half. Both of these teams offensively, when they get calmed down and into those sets, they look good. I think for both offenses, 8 turnovers apiece. That's kind of the key to this game so far.
I mean, they've looked like a well-oiled machine, but how sustainable is that rate of scoring? So far, so good, as another 2 falls for Inslee Perry. All sorts of looks for this William Peace team as they are continuing to grow this lead. Here's Natalie Poole. Outside, Petty trying to find a screen, instead weaves through. A little too heavy off the backboard. Anya Henderson draws the contact.
I think for both of these coaches going into the halftime so far, just when things are going good, they're going great. When you're able to calm things down and take care of the ball, you're getting points. You're knocking down your shots. And when they're going bad, they're pretty ugly. You're looking at maintaining possession. Some of those tipped passes, just we knew how fast-paced this game was going to be, but at the same time, you got to be able to play under control. And I think that kind of attributes to a lot of these turnovers. You want to get out in transition. You want to get those easy buckets, but at the same time, if you got to slow things down just to maintain your control in the game, that's what you got to do.
It does feel like one of those games where, you know, when you're hot, everything is working. And when you're not, you're just trying to find that inch of space to get back in. Anya Henderson goes to the charity stripe. 9-point lead for William Peace. Henderson, a transfer from Legacy Early College. So far putting up stellar numbers, 7 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists per game. Vandergrift gets the rebound, goes 0 for 2 this time. Pass disrupted into the hands of her sister, Zakira Henderson. Nice hesitation, gets the layup.
Yeah, beautiful move there. Able to run a dribble hesitation, top of the key, get the defender kind of frozen in their tracks a little bit. Next thing you know, you're blowing by them, and there's nothing standing between you and the rim.
Just smooth as butter. When you see the isolation for the Pacers down low, they have really capitalized.
And that's why they like playing in transition so fast, right? You get that steal kind of around the half-court margin. Next thing you know, you've got numbers. You got 3-on-2 headed to the rim. You make one defender make a wrong move. Next thing you know, you're all good.
Lynchburg in the bonus. Free throws for Ashley Vandergrift. 21 seconds to go here in the second quarter. First one falls. The Hornets, as we have advertised the entire season, going to do it by committee. 12 different Hornets earned a start last year, and they're already at 7 through the first 3 games. Obviously make it 4, a similar lineup to what we have expected. Kind of feel like some of the newcomers could wrinkle the picture as Madison Hoffman, one of the sophomore transfers, steps in.
Yeah, I think that's kind of that offense for defense. Shot clock turned off for the last possession. Vandergrift coming out, Hoffman coming in. Gives Lynchburg just a little bit more depth at that defensive energy to end the half.
You've seen the same from Natalie Poole earlier in the year, and not necessarily afraid to go in with some of those contests. Henderson gets the first free throw to fall. William Peace hasn't exactly stroked it well at the line today. 1 for 5 before these shots. 1 for 2 on this trip. Hornets can hold for the last shot. And the screen from Jackie. Foul is called on Anya Henderson.
Yeah, beautiful there. She laid down a beautiful screen. A lot of times you're kind of in that position as a defender where you are vulnerable. You got your back turned to what's behind you, trying to apply that pressure to the ball. You don't see those screens coming if they're not called out. You can run in and initiate that contact and get a foul called. It's usually not that big of a deal, but at this stage, only 10 seconds left. A team in the bonus, you don't want to give them anything free, especially when you're applying that pressure defensively. It's kind of the last thing you wanted to do if you were the Pacers.
Especially when the other team's trailing and they get 2 freebies. See if Lynchburg has a stout final defensive possession. 8-6 to go. Henderson, the bounce pass to her sister. Here's a nice move. Once again, the engine full gas ahead, and the Pacers have maintained the lead throughout the entirety of this game. A 10-point. We'll be back.
Including Australia, Indonesia.
It's almost April, and you guessed it, Give Day is coming.
It's been 119 years since the university was founded.
by Josephus Hopwood in April of 1903 with a gift of $100.
We're not asking that everyone give $3,000, though we won't turn you down if you do. How much you give isn't the point. It's that you join in on Give Day to give what you can.
$1 can buy a cup of coffee, but if we all pitch in, those dollars can help fund some really impressive stuff.
Your help is improving our athletic facilities. I mean, have you seen this scoreboard? It's perfect for games and movie nights.
It may not be flashy, but you've helped update the AC in Hopsigler, and that's huge.
Think about it. We've got a cadaver lab in here.
And if that isn't your thing, this digital anatomy table was also funded with help of people just like you.
Remember when we had problems with the dam? Well, we've been working with the city to replace the old bridge, add the new traffic circle.
And with your support, College Lake is turning into a new urban wetland that students can learn in for years to come.
I mean, the Lynchburg Fund helps everywhere.
Lynchburg started with $100 combined with $100 dedication and love turned into all that your gift can do.
Give Day 2022 is just around the corner, and today I'm inviting you to make history with me on Thursday, April 7th. During those 24 hours, we'll look back on 119 years and reimagine our future together. Did you know that our entire history is grounded in giving? The university we are today began in April 1903 with a gift from Dr. Josephus and Sarah Hopwood. On April 7th, we will continue that tradition of giving. So join me in supporting everything that makes this such an extraordinary place to live, learn and grow. Gifts to the Lynchburg Fund support all aspects of your Lynchburg experience. They spark innovation and seek collaboration across campus and in our community. They fund research, study abroad trips, your favourite professors and unforgettable moments. Yes, I'm talking about our new video board in Schellenberger Field. You can even make a gift in honour of someone who has made a difference in your life. Help us build on the generosity of our founders on Give Day 2022. Give Day is about paying it forward and giving together, and gifts of any size make a big difference. Learn more about Give Day 2022 at lynchburg.edu/giveday. You are such an integral part of our Lynchburg family. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Barbara Rothamel, Director of the Durham at the University of Lynchburg. I'm really excited that we can do here at the Durham Museum. We hold exhibitions throughout the year, changing them at least once during issues, examining the aesthetics of art, historical aspects and so on, with our collections of American and European paintings, drawings, prints and sculpture, as well as the art of world cultures, including Australia, Indonesia, and Africa. We've had an art gallery here at the University of Lynchburg since 1976. In 1995, it was named the Dara Gallery in honor of Pierre and Louise Dara. Since then, in the year 2020, we renamed it the Dara Museum of Art, which best exemplifies what we do with our collections, exhibitions, and educational programming. Our collections have grown over the year, and we now have more than 2,000 works of art in our permanent collection. We recently received a donation from the Andy Warhol Foundation that included serigraphs as well as many of his Polaroids taken of friends, acquaintances, and on the street over the years. So this is a very exciting aspect of our collection. We also received the donation of contemporary folk art from the late Professor James Owens, and our collection includes now the largest public selection of paintings by Lynchburg area folk artist Queen Stovall. Please consider a donation to the Dara Museum of Art on Give Day. And educational initiatives, the consideration of works of art for our collection. And don't forget, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, Dara Museum U of L. Thank you. Hope to see you in the museum soon. Hi, I'm Barbara Rothamel, Director of the Dara Museum of Art here at the University of Lynchburg. I'm really excited that we can show you what we do here at the Dara Museum. We hold exhibitions throughout the academic year, changing them at least once during the course of each semester. Our exhibitions range from thematic concepts, works by specific artists, and really fortunately this spring we have works of art by our art faculty. So we have many opportunities throughout the year for confronting various social issues, examining the aesthetics of art, historical aspects, and so on, with our collections of American and European paintings, drawings, prints, and sculpture, as well as the art of world cultures, including Australia, Indonesia, and Africa. We've had an art gallery here at the University of Lynchburg since 1976. In 1995, it was named the Dara Gallery in honor of Pierre and Louise Dara. Since then, in the year 2020, we renamed it the Dara Museum of Art, which best exemplifies what we do with our collections, exhibitions, and educational programming. Our collections have grown over the year, and we now have more than 2,000 works of art in our permanent collection. We recently received a donation from the Andy Warhol Foundation that included serigraphs as well as many of his Polaroids taken of friends, acquaintances, and on the street over the years. So this is a very exciting aspect of our collection. We also received the donation of contemporary folk art from the late Professor James Owens, and our collection includes now the largest public selection of paintings by Lynchburg area folk artist Queen Stovall. Please consider a donation to the Dara Museum of Art. We rely on funding that support our programs and educational initiatives, as well as the consideration of works of art for our collection. And don't forget, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, Dara Museum U of L. Thank you. Hope to see you in the museum soon.
This is a spice bush that's not quite open yet, but the little yellow buds are getting ready. We have all kinds of things blooming on the ground. The Claytor Center was donated to the University of Lynchburg in 1998 by a man named Boyd Claytor, who really wanted to see this facility used for the study and appreciation of the natural world. And here along the river, I think, is one of the best opportunities we have for that. The Claytor Nature Center also provides all sorts of research and education opportunities for local school groups, for the university students, and just for the general public. And we make use of this river quite extensively for that purpose, getting kids into the river to do water quality testing, for instance. I'm standing here in front of our education and research facility. Parking lot's actually a little bit full today because we've had a group of parents with their kids here for an educational program. They're back there playing around behind me. The education and research facility houses a whole bunch of different opportunities, facilities. We've got a a lab and a classroom and a seminar room. Here we've got the kiosk that greets our visitors to the Clater Nature Center. We have trail maps here. There are almost 8 miles of trails that people can come and check out on their own or part of a guided hike.
This is an example of a trail through our wetland. We call this, in fact, the wetland boardwalk, which connects to our bog garden trail. You can see that this sign is pretty low tech. So one of the things we'd like to do here, and that we could use your support for, is replacing some of these trail signs with something more durable and representative of a nature center's presence in this community. This is actually a new trail being built by our facilities manager, Dan Miles, to highlight some of the interesting geology we have here at the Clater Nature Center.
If you choose to donate to the Clater Nature Center, you could be helping support the work of our trail maintainer and a trail designer by things like
Halftime in the Hill City through 20 minutes. William Peace a firm advantage, 44-34. They lead as Lynchburg has had several nice looks of their own, but haven't been able to keep up with the pace of this William Peace offense. Of course, no pun intended. Welcome back to Turner Gymnasium. Evan Gates and Kevin Nestor walking you through the action. Let's take a look at those halftime stats. And Kevin, when you look at the page, I mean, it's pretty obvious the shooting categories have been lights out for the Pacers so far.
Yeah, absolutely. You're looking at 65% from the field, 57% from three. I mean, they're knocking down almost everything they get a chance at. Lynchburg kind of cooled off there at the end of that second quarter, trying to run and gun, get themselves back into this game. But I think the story really for both teams is the turnovers. You see it on your screen there, 9 apiece. It's kind of limited these offensive times. As soon as you see them start to gather a little bit of momentum, it just kind of gets stalled out by an errant pass or just, good defense, whatever the case may be. And it's kind of taking these offenses out of rhythm at times. I think for both teams, cleaning up that stat category will kind of propel you in the second half.
Well, we didn't get a chance to talk about the keys to the game earlier because we had so much action happening at once. And I think so far in this ball game, your keys have been honestly showcased from what we've seen in these 20 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think they continue in the second half as well. For Lynchburg, you got to create those quality shots. You got great three-point shooters on the team. If you can continue to give them good looks, they'll knock them down, but you've also got to be able to limit those perimeter rebounds, prevent the offensive rebounds on the defensive end. William Peace has had 52 offensive rebounds in their first 3 games of the season. They love to crash the offensive board, and they make teams pay with those second and third chance opportunities. You saw that on display. On the other end for William Peace, they've done a really good job so far at matching Lynchburg's depth. You talked about the 10 freshmen out of the 18 players on the roster. A lot of them playing pivotal minutes here in this game, but protecting the rock, we talked about it. They averaged 20 turnovers in those first 3 games. They had 9 in the first half here tonight. If they can clean that up, they hold a 10-point lead. If they can clean those turnovers up, you got to think that can only continue to grow in the second half.
Definitely feels like this lead should be larger than 10 for William Peace, a team that has really dominated throughout the action so far. There's a player on either side with double figures. It's Henderson for William Peace, and that's Anya Henderson, the younger sister, the freshman from Greer, South Carolina. So far, 10 points on the day, 3 rebounds to go with it in just 13 minutes. And Lynchburg, wow, this has been a team that 4 rebounds. And it's going to be an exciting half if Lynchburg can get ready trying to keep up with this William Peace offense.
Yeah, I think a big key for Lynchburg is Audra Petty shooting 33% from the floor in the first half, but 40% from the three-point line. She came in off the bench and gave that Hornets a rated 2 for 5 shooting performance. She knocked down some big-time threes, all the momentum that William Peace had kind of gathered throughout the points in that first half.
First possession features an offensive rebound for William Peace, and they have a trip to the line. Just their second offensive rebound of the game, and Coach Nick emphasized that here at the outset earlier, getting to talk with her before the game. She said this is a team that really emphasizes getting those second and third chances.
Yeah, I think Coach Nichols kind of realizes immediately. 15 seconds in the first half. Obviously, a quick foul doesn't help the case. But Petty comes in, 15 seconds on the bench, and I think you realize what she can offer on offense for this Lynchburg team. It's just a spark. I feel like they need down 10 early on, gather some of that momentum back on the offensive end.
Free throw hits the front iron, but once again, offensive rebound corralled by the Pacers. Mid-range jump shot misses the rim into the hands of Petty. So that is a break for Lynchburg. Third offensive rebound team that had 20 against Apprentice in their last game. Opportunity to go down low. Brown connects with Vandergrift. Three-pointer. Count it.
Yeah, beautiful job from Lynchburg. And I think if you had to draw up a play that kind of summarized their offensive philosophy, it's that right there. Go inside. Let Taylor Brown get a feeling out process. If it's not there on the post, you're going to find Ashley Vandergrift wide open, and she's going to knock that down more times than you would think.
A little bit of miscommunication on the defensive end as Henderson's going to have 2 more free throws. This is a stat that's really starting to stack up for William Peace, now shooting free throws 10 and 11 on the day. Several in quick succession to begin the second half, but once again unable to capitalize. Just 2 for 10 on the day, Kevin.
And you got to feel like obviously converting free throws, but also just those give-me's on the offensive end. We saw a couple of missed layups down low, and you got to think, you hate to play the what-if game, but what could this lead be if they just capitalize on some of the kindergarten kind of moves on offense?
Feels like the points in the paint have been dominated by the Pacers. 30-18 advantage. It's Petty looking all the way around the court, still searching for options, finds a cutting Vandergrift outside. Pass taken away from Terry into the hands of Randolph. One-on-one with Brooke. Kaysen swatted at the fingertips on it, and that is a beautiful hustle play to get back for the Hornets.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful job. You'll see it again right here. Brooke Kaysen going up and just saying not this time. On the offensive end, a little bit lazy for Lynchburg that time. We've talked about the pressure that William Peace is applying, and again, you just can't make those type of lazy passes against such a good pressure, and that kind of attributed to that turnover, but Kaysen did a really good job of allowing nothing of it.
Recognized where she was at on the floor as well, but this time pass taken away. Vandergrift having to haul back. Bucket right under. Can't count it. Kaysen wanted a foul. There's those layups that have been missed. To the other end we go. Brown can't get it to go. Offensive rebound, cleans the glass. 6-point game here in Turner Gymnasium. And William Peace frustrated with the start of this third quarter. We'll be back. 8:05 to play in the third. Lynchburg creeping back into this ball game.
Providing
with some sustainability, energy efficiency principles. It is basically a bunkhouse with 2 wings. All right, each wing has
Well, when he's not working, our very own Joe Brennan is leading the charge in the student section as he was enjoying his time in the bleachers today, and well-deserved rest after a very heavy weekend for NCAA men's soccer. Lynchburg's through to the round of 16. They'll be hosting it here at Schellenberger Field next week. And, of course, Joe Brennan always helping out on the call for those games. Kevin, what a time to be a Hornets fan. You got volleyball going to the NCAA tournament, a trip to Johns Hopkins, and just really starting to feel like this team has a lot of postseason surges on the way.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked last time out here on the hardwood about how excited we were for this season to be up and going, but we still got to wrap up fall season. You got two teams that still have national championship aspirations, and it's well within the realm of possibilities.
No doubt about it. Possibility that the Pacers are getting sick of committing turnovers, as we have seen several to start this third quarter. And all of a sudden, Lynchburg within an arm's length, just a 6-point game. They have possession as Matt Moore. John didn't see much action in the first game. That's a beautiful pass to Vander. First chance won't fall, and she'll have free throws.
Beautiful job by Vandergriff. I think we've touched on that a little bit again in that first game off the court, but just the elevation of her game. We knew her last year as just a spot-up three-point shooter. That was the spark she provided this offense, but coming into this season, she's really developed on those cuts, especially the backdoor baseline cuts. As soon as you think, she's kind of just going to stand in the corner, wait for an opportunity for three, she lulls the defender to sleep. Next thing you know, she's slipping behind you, either converting on a bucket or in most cases getting to the line and knock down some free throws.
Well, for so many of these Hornets who are three-point specialists, they're trying to really strengthen that arsenal, because last year, especially for Vandergrift and Kaysen, shooting seasons, but not the expectation they wanted that was going to be top in the conference. There's other ways of making it happen. Henderson for three. He got it beyond the perimeter. And the Pacers continuing those jumpers. They have been unattended from beyond the perimeter. Now chance for Hoffman. Hands it off to Kaysen. Tries to go right down low to Brown. Has it stripped away.
Yeah, beautiful job down low by Perry. Just the double team, saw the instinct of the pass going over the top, leaves the corner, comes to trap that inside. Easy turnover, capitalizing the offensive end, but beautiful job defensively from the Pacers.
Griffin sprinkled through the paint, just couldn't make it fall. Petty straight away, sinks it. It's Tuesday night, the bank's still open, and Lynchburg back to a 6-point game.
Absolutely. The part about this game at the college level, you don't got to call Banks.
Seems like everything's starting to fall for Audra Petty, who's had a spectacular start to the sophomore season. 13 points on the day. Turnover once again, a killer corner for William Peace. They have struggled to have that pass in that very place.
I think it might just be something about that end of the court. I touched on it in the first half. It was those passes that looked kind of routine that were just kind of slipping away from the Hornets in the first half down here. And now it's the Pacers, just passes that are simple, kick out to the short elbow. Not able to make them as cleanly as they would like, and it's caused a bit of frustration on the offensive end.
Lynchburg trying to recalibrate. Still down 6. William Peace struggling on their offensive end. 1 for their last 7. Another three-pointer. Petty just a touch too heavy. Lynchburg loses the ball. Spainhour down to the hardwood. How about the game back? Audra Petty surging to the corner. Just off the mark. The offensive rebound. And Petty, a powerful presence.
Yeah, beautiful job from Lynchburg. Again, just that drive kick. Find your shooter first time. Dominating the boards here in this third quarter. Cleaning up offensively, getting another chance. Converting a two-pointer to cut into this lead.
Henderson to her sister. No good. William Peace sharing the wealth. Unable to capitalize here in this third quarter. And Lynchburg starting to sense the confidence.
Absolutely. They got the Pacers kind of on their heels a little bit. And that foul right there, I think, attributes to that. A little bit of a frustration foul. You haven't been able to get anything going on defense. Finally got a good look on offense. Unable to capitalize. And, honestly, a good foul just to slow things down in the open court. Lynchburg kind of a little bit on these fast break possessions in the second half. Slow things down. Make them beat you in a set.
Spainhour, the spin, right downstairs and in.
That is the only issue with making them beat you in this set. They got their best player. We've seen her do that. You never know what move she's going to go to. High post that time, little wide open. Nothing between her and the bucket. Absolutely dog on the defensive end, too.
Charge into this Lynchburg comeback effort. Just a 2-point game. Coach Nichols and company on their feet in Turner Gymnasium. A chance to equalize on the other side, and Bree Spainhour Loving the energy in the Hill City.
You have been missed. Show off in this game. Man, she's a big piece of this team.
Morale of this team just to have one of your stars back. It has been a presence that has been very much felt.
I mean, outside of just her skill set is just her understanding of the game, right? Knowing her position on the defensive end, knowing that she can take that charge. Offensively, knowing she has a speed mismatch, get you a move on the high elbow. Next thing you know, there's nothing between you and the rim. Just her ball IQ is so high.
Here's another dish to Kaysen. Maybe a little too selfless that time, but there's the fifth foul. There's still 4:32 to go in the quarter, and Lynchburg's in the bonus. So far for this William Peace squad, Zachariah Davis has 3 fouls. Doesn't look like anyone else is in foul trouble. Jacobisi has 3 for the Hornets. So Spainhour has 2 shots from the line, sinks the first.
And I'm going to tell you, I love what Coach Nichols has done with the game plan since Bree Spainhour has been in the game. You haven't saw her running other than end-to-end. When she's on offense, she's down in the low post. She's going to work post-to-post. She's not running the perimeter. And on defense, she's picking up outside perimeter, but she's really living down on that low block, playing help side, controlling rebounds, not having to move a lot in her first game back.
Pacers, and they had one opportunity. Davis gets the big shot to fall, and that's a pretty high percentage one right under the hoop. And this is really where it's tough to look at your deck of cards and say, all right, what are the options? Bree Spainhour goes to the bench now, but you recognize her play is really firing up the rest of this team. You just hope it goes all the way down the depth chart.
Yeah, absolutely. And the spark was kind of created before she came in, right? The whole third quarter, it seems like Lynchburg just kind of had their thumb on the pulse. And they've been kind of controlling that momentum a little bit. But when Bree came in, she just offered a spark that kind of brought a lot of energy to this team, knocking down a shot, converting at the free throw line, and taking a charge defensively.
Audra Petty can't connect, and Hoffman will be called for the foul under the hoop. 4-point game, Pacers lead with 4:03 to play in the third. It's important to note that we've only seen Kate Littlejohn for 10 minutes in this contest. That is someone else who has really put a hefty number of minutes on the charts. And of course, Coach Nichols, as we've already talked about here in recent games, recognizes it's not just a starting 5, that there are more players that can really solve the puzzle this year. We'll see when her return is on its way. 3:59 to go here in this third quarter as the clock resets. Tumble going to the hoop. Traveling violation called. Lynchburg's defense sat in the right position.
Yeah, beautiful job. Collapsing to the paint, not allowing anything by you on the drive. Staying there, hands up, playing big and tall, forcing the guard to pick the handle up. Nobody in the vicinity to dish it off to. You just kind of get caught in no man's land.
Petty ready to dish. Goes outside to Hoffman. Surveying up top, now wraps around, pass to Jacobisi, who somehow muscles her way with the ball. Kicks it out to Audra Petty. The extra dribble, up and in. Commanding every part of the court, and the sophomore has 17 points. 5-on-5 prime. Henderson trying to get around Parker. Dish to the corner. Extra one outside. Randolph all alone. Can't connect.
Yeah, beautiful job. One of the best possessions from the Pacers in the second half. Drive and kick, find a wide open shooter, and you're not going to see her miss many of those.
Petty just misses. Oh, just nudged that corner of the rim. That was a chance to tie it up. How many times have we said her name? What has been another breakout performance in Turner. 3-point ball won't fall. Lynchburg, another chance to tie it up. Kaysen, extra pass. Here it is. Lynchburg takes the lead. I don't know how the lights are still on in this gymnasium because Petty has been lights out in the start of this season. Henderson trying to find her spot, guarded tightly by Parker. The switch going down low in the personal on the floor. 20 points for Petty, 7 for 15 shooting. By the way, 5 rebounds and an assist to go with it.
I mean, it's just impressive. You talk about 4 for 8 from the three-point line. That's, 50% clip's impressive for anybody, but especially, a three-point shooter. It's the rest of her game that just seems to evolve. You mentioned it, the assist, the rebounding, her cuts, finishing inside. It's just it took such a huge leap forward, and it's kind of that progression when you talk to coaches. You always want the biggest stride to come between freshman and sophomore year. That's when you kind of see that maturity as a person and as a player. And I think Petty did more than that for this team.
No doubt about it that she is going to be one of those players who's right on in big spots. Scored in double figures on 10 occasions last year, so she's already been around those starting lineup and more. She's also around the hoop.
Yeah,
and 2 more.
That time starts at the top of the key, slips to the low post, and just does a beautiful job sealing off the low block. Pass was on a dime, but Petty, a beautiful move off ball, and an easy 2 points to get rewarded for it.
Single-handedly putting Lynchburg in front, leapfrogging the Pacers. Traveling violation down low. Zachariah Davis can't believe it. Hands to the sky, but Lynchburg will take over for the final 100 seconds of this third quarter. The Hornets are in the lead.
You kind of feel like the game script is just completely flipped, right? This is exactly how we saw William Peace go, to take on a 10-point lead into halftime. It was sloppy play from the Lynchburg offense, really good defense from the Pacers in the first half, and now it's just flipped. Lynchburg, they're controlling offensive possessions, almost finishing every time they come down the floor and defensively applying pressure. And right now it's just too much for the Pacers to handle.
Jacobisi to the line for 2. The Cornelius, North Carolina native. Got her first start the last time out in her home state. Can't connect on the first free throw, but what an effort. A surge for Lynchburg, who was down 10 at the half. So far outscoring the Pacers 20-9 in this third quarter. Add 1 to make it blackjack. 21 points for the Hornets and counting. Look at the defense, and it's an offensive foul. Wow, Selah Parker trying to evade trouble on the screen. Little too much contact from the Pacers.
And again, you'll see the replay there. I think you're just going to see just moving into it. You dish off, run a little handoff pass. Beautiful job offensively. Just on that handoff, you can't move into a defender. It just seemed like a little bit of a lean there, and the official right on top of it. I think that's absolutely the correct call.
Anya Henderson with 3 fouls. No, make that 4 fouls in this contest as it just updates. Davis with 3. Griffin also has 3. So the bigs for the Pacers in a lot of trouble. As this time the Hornets called for the foul. They have a 2-point lead with 1:06 to play. This is a Lynchburg team that really loves playing at home, and you have sensed the energy here in Turner Gymnasium. Go back to last year, their top 4 scoring totals from last season all came at home. and they have 14 of their 25 games right here in the Hill City. Trying to use it to their advantage to go 4-0 after a 3-0 start to the year. William Peace 2-1. Lone loss to Roanoke, one of Lynchburg's ODAC foes that is expecting a lot this season, pre-ranked 4th in the ODAC poll.
Yeah, for Lynchburg, you kind of mentioned that home cooking last year. One of the positive notes they took away from the season, making the tournament, a positive record of 6-5 and 11 games played at home last year. So definitely something they wanted to continue to build on this season.
Hoffman to the corner, Vandergrift up, and just left it short. But it will stay Hornets basketball. Hoffman to inbound, 49-6 to go in the third quarter. Lynchburg electing to go with one of its smaller lineups. That will definitely favor the 3-ball. Here's Petty, spinning. Outside to Hoffman, now down low. Looking for that post presence and clips it in. What can't she do? 23 buries it. And once again, Lynchburg out in front.
Yeah, a lot of contact down there. Petty had to dish it out initially, realized she had the size mismatch, fought through the contact to catch the pass and puts up a beautiful shot. Tough contest. It's better offense. This time, better defense by Jacobisi.
Lynchburg fans all wanted possession as Jacobisi just got her hands on it at the last second. 21 to go in the third quarter. Down low, Pacers miss a gimme. Bree Oliver was right there. Now Lynchburg throwing a full court pass. Audra Petty wants to hold on. 7 seconds to go. Vandergrift directing traffic. Ready to fire. The 3-ball just off the mark. Couldn't stick the landing that time, but Lynchburg sticks up a big-time third quarter, 23 points, and it's fitting that number 23 leads the charge. Audra Petty, 24 on the day. Hornets up 2. We're heading to the fourth.
A total of 8 beds. We have 4 bunks, 2 beds in each bunk. We actually have a fraternity coming out this weekend to have a little retreat, a brotherhood retreat.
We also rent the Eco Lodge for outside groups. The Eco Lodge is a fantastic facility to check out or to consider donating to support the further development of programs and uses here at the Chandler Eco Lodge. I mentioned I'm the interim director. We're actually undergoing a search right now for the permanent director. So is bright for the Clater Center as we transition to new leadership with new possibilities for the programs here. So I encourage you to consider giving to our Clater Nature Center Fund.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
Brian Weather in that first half, shooting north of 50%.
William Peace just controlled the first half, kind of in every aspect. Offensively, they shot the lights out of the ball. Defensively, they created turnovers, gave their offenses chance. But Lynchburg, coming out of halftime, just regrouped. Defensively, picked their intensity up, and offensively slowed things down just a bit, just to give their shooters time to settle into the game a little bit and get those quality shots.
Well, the defense certainly picked up for the Hornets as Audra Petty sinks the first free throw. This was a William Peace offense that shot just 16% from the field, 2 for 12 in that quarter. As Petty's seconds off the mark, almost a jump ball. Brooke Kaysen at her hand in the cookie jar, and trying to come back down 3 and regain momentum. A little bit of zone defense perhaps as Lynchburg was out and about. Now they stay tuned as Randolph's 3 clips back iron and out. For a moment, looked like Lynchburg was going with that 2-3, and then Vandergrift stuck outside on the perimeter. Here's Kaysen, and out. A lot of tight defense. Here's Petty. Once again, back into the paint. Powers through. Oh, bottoms on this Tuesday evening. Audra Petty having herself a night.
You can't understate how efficient she has been at all 3 levels. Shooting the, we know that's her game, but making moves, getting inside, and finishing at the rim off of those pretty moves. It's become a craft of hers, and you're going to see Kaysen on the defensive end throwing a block party.
It's going to be a party if Lynchburg comes out with the victory, and the way they are surging sure looks like it. Straight over from Kaysen off the mark. The Pacers will have to find a lifeline here in this 4th quarter. You look at the runs, this Lynchburg team has really found it. Anya Henderson misses everything wide right.
And it feels like ever since Lynchburg captured the energy and the momentum of this game, it just feels like William Peace has been scrambling really on both ends of the floor, trying to come up with something to give their team an answer, and it's just not working.
Kaysen maybe had one more step to get to the layup, couldn't convert. Here's Henderson, dishes outside, and Petty got her hand on it. Coach Nichols talked about how pleased she is with the start of the season, and it's not just this camaraderie, but it's the senior leadership. You think about Brooke Kaysen and Ashley Vandergrift, who have really had a large number of freshmen and newcomers this year, and it just feels like they have all merged together so well.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that was attributed, I think it was Bree Spainhour that talked about it in the preseason presser, just how they've come together as leaders off the court to kind of incorporate that feeling, and you're seeing it pick up on the court. They're playing so well together. Their energy and their chemistry, it's so matched well together with the new class that's in, and I think that's kind of been a tribute to their success this season so far.
Hoffman got tied up with Denasia Wright. Now the referee wants to make sure the clock is right. 8:03 to go in the ball game. 5. This is a team that, as we said, will have several home games this year. 14 on the schedule. It'll be a trip to Washington and Lee for the ODAC opener and their next contest, as it'll be 2 shots for Kristen Barber. Then Lynchburg's back home for a date with Meredith and Hollins. Hollins is where William Peace is heading. The Atlantic coming up on the weekend. Agnes Scott and Hollins, their 2 opponents of choice. As first free throw falls.
And for Lynchburg, you know, you're dealing with this out-of-conference schedule that hasn't been easy for you. It's tested you and your young core a little bit, and you've responded well. If you get a win here today, you move to 4-0 before you go on the road to take on Washington and Lee. I think that gives you a really good sense of where you are as a team.
Connect the dots up the floor. Oh, everything but the layup. Hoffman had it. Now a second chance and a second one up and in. Everything working for the Hornets in this 4th quarter. Kira Henderson ran into trouble, dishes off to Randolph. Can't keep it in bounds. And the Pacers relinquish possession again. Timeout. Anna Lee Bollinger doesn't like what she sees. 7:32 to go. That'll be the media break in the 4th quarter. Stick with us in the Hill City.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a level you think you had, and you can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
Comprehensive learning is being able to adapt to experiences and apply the things that I learned. Being an athlete and juggling academics helped me grow as a person, and things that I've learned, I was able to apply it in another field, putting them into everyday life. Developing comprehensive learning helped me prioritize certain things to make sure I get to where I want to be.
A good citizen is someone who wants to make a positive impact, both in their communities and in the world around them.
It has been a committee effort for Lynchburg, but Audra Petty has spearheaded this team's attack to get back into this game. Still 7:30 to go here in this quarter. A beautiful bounce pass to her senior counterpart. That is the connection everybody will appreciate. Up and in. Randolph running into trouble. And that's a foul on Hoffman, just a little too handsy. This is a William Peace team that had just one non-conference win last year, and it was to the Hornets. That 1 point affair, a valiant effort. They're a better team this year, but so is Lynchburg. Trying to come out and sneak away with the victory as the Hornets save it, unfortunately right back to the Pacers, and one opportunity. Kristen Barber makes it a 6-point game.
Yeah, really good job for William. Ultimately, it kind of hasn't come to fruition, but they're getting back to the game plan on the offensive boards, getting those second and third chance opportunities, and if it doesn't pay off on the glass, you go and you get it through a steal or another possession like that. Create some chances for your offense.
See if the Hornets can stay red hot. Audra Petty at a career high, 27 points. They only won in double figures, but up and down the roster, they found ways to score. Here's Petty, sophomore, goes up, whipped away on the side. Henderson ready to regather. Back to the cup, kicks out, mid-range, that's a travel. No doubt about it.
Yeah, beautiful job from the Hornets. You saw the help side kind of leave that short corner open, but a quick recovery. What the Pacers thought was going to be an easy open shot turned out to be well defended there.
Denasia Wright getting some valuable minutes here in the fourth quarter for the Pacers. They need it with the foul trouble. Down low to Jacobisi, and a personal will be charged to Kristen Barber.
And Lynchburg's made it an emphasis here in the second half to go to that low block to start their offensive possession, slow things down, get it inside, and let them go to work. You mentioned that size mismatch earlier. They've kind of worked with it a little bit, and if the shot's not there, if they don't feel comfortable going to it, they're working inside out, and they're creating opportunities for their shooters like Kaysen and Vandergriff to get open and knock those high-quality looks down. I think that's when this Lynchburg offense operates at its best.
Those are the puzzle pieces for Lynchburg's offense. You wonder when some of these attackers for William Peace will re-enter the game as Petty's three rattles out, but Hoffman comes away with the rebound. Down low to Jacobisi. Oh, a handoff right under the bucket. Quick exchanges. Blink and you'll miss it. Two more freebies on the way, and Ashley Vandergrift will have her attempt.
Yeah, beautiful job there. You saw the entry pass. I thought it was going to be a quick double for a second, but it was actually just because Vandergrift was streaking on that backdoor cut. Easy handoff. It's going to be a tough finish, but contact makes it easy to earn at the stripe.
Front end falls. The Lynchburg team missing each of its three main category leaders from last year before today's game. Olivia Harris graduated, led in points per game and assists per game. Spainhour had led in rebounds per game. She makes her return in the game, and one of the biggest parts of it, wasn't sure how many minutes she would get rehabbing from a torn ACL. 7 minutes so far, but you feel like this is a huge part of the game as Zakira Henderson gets back to the cup.
Good job, and you can definitely tell the Pacers aren't going to go down without a fight. They're sticking to their offensive identity, driving to the cup, finishing through contact that And it's just been a display for William Peace. It's been an emphasis for their offense. You saw the three-point shot followed in the first half. Wasn't happening here in the second half, so they just made it a presence and a point offensively. Drive to the cup.
Denasia Wright called with the personal. 4 on either team, 5:41 to go in the fourth.
I'm going to tell you, we talk about that veteran leadership, and it felt like the spark kind of started in that third quarter when we first saw Spainhour re-enter the game. See a tough almost bucket there for Hoffman. She's played some really high-quality minutes. Just going back to touch on Spainhour, it felt like it was her energy and her intensity. And it sparked that, right? Because she only played for 2 minutes or so in that third quarter. But it was her rally whenever she was in the game that kind of ignited the rest of this Hornets team to go on the run they did to get them a lead here in the second half. I think that's the presence that you miss when you've got someone like Spainhour sitting on the bench.
Well, someone else who has really come in and contributed is Madison Hoffman at the line. Makes it a 6-point game. Chance to make it a touchdown, and she does. Had just one appearance on the year before today. Hadn't scored a point for Lynchburg. She now has them on the board. Make it 4 on the day. Chance right on the side of the backboard, nothing doing. Here comes Hoffman leading the charge again, kicks it out. Vandergrift all the way to the corner and won't be able to catch up.
Yeah, the defensive end again right on cue. Hoffman forcing the dribbler to the baseline into a double. Spainhour there to help. It's just force those kind of offensive possessions, you can't get anything going. There's no scoring opportunities on a double. There's no passing lanes to create something for a teammate, and it's just a waste possession for the Pacers. And you got to attribute it to good defense from the Hornets.
Henderson for 3. Clips the left iron. Lynchburg getting closer to filling the bingo card, but still a lot of distance to cover in the final 5 minutes. Pass inserted to Spainhour. All sorts of space. Now searching. Kaysen has a wide open lane. Misses the layup. Left it long. Second chance for Spainhour. Kicks outside. Similar spot. The left hand no good. A frustrating sequence for Kaysen. Pass. Ran right into her. Bryn Stevens ready to shoot the 3, and that's probably not the worst opportunity to put William Peace at the line, as they have shot just 50%.
Yeah, and I think at some point there, if you're Kaysen, you just got to be surprised at how wide open you were. Sometimes that happens. 2 really good drives that time, and nobody meeting her at the rim. Sometimes you just get a little bit shocked on the offensive end.
Especially when you're not the tallest player on the floor. Sometimes that can go into the mindset of it. Stevens 3 shots. First one misses everything. See everybody in the gym, Huban. That is not a good feeling when you're on the road. Second one on the way. It will be a long 2. Pacers don't get any. They do get the offensive rebound. Henderson still searching. William Peace the fight. Down 7. And an easy look under the bucket. Couldn't get it to fall. Betty down to the ground. And a jump award possession to the Hornets. What a sequence. Lynchburg had just 5 games decided by single figures last year. So to get a game like this in the non-conference slate is definitely appetizing for Coach Nichols. Trying to get this team in the perfect spot.
And for Lynchburg, defensively doing everything right on the defensive ends here now. To kind of throw a little bit of ice on this game. Run a little bit of clock look. You got to feel like you're in the driver's seat of this one.
Give and go again. Vandergrift can't get her belongings. Second chance. Petty left it long. Wright comes away with the rebound. What was a sprint to the finish line in the first half has become a little more methodical. Pacers searching right mid-range. Can't get it to fall. Spainhour stripped. Randolph goes upstairs. Kaysen met her at the summit. That one, and it's a 5-point game. Up and in. Doesn't matter what time it is, it's always Spainhour. She has a chance to add 1 to the tally.
Yeah, just a beautiful job from Bree Spanauer. You saw her get stripped on the initial possession. Same defender Gardner, same pressure. This time Bree said, you know what? I'm just going to go by you. I'll meet a teammate at the rim and still finish through the contact.
If you get through this game and she comes out of it saying, you know what, I feel good. Nothing was bothering me. Watch out, because this team is starting to get more and more confident.
Absolutely. I think there's just such a big question mark surrounding this game for Bree. Obviously, you know the impact she has on this team, but you just want to see where she's at, even as a fan, just from that fan perspective. What can she offer, in a minutes restriction game? That gives you an idea of when you'll see her full time.
Henderson, nice isolation. Gathers the space, use that left arm to get the separate. Betty going all the way, just missed off the right of the rim. Back to the races we go. Henderson dishes outside to Randolph. The corner for three. Can't connect. Second opportunity, no good. And Kaysen has it. That would have made it just a one-possession game. Now the extra pass the other way. Bumped through contact. Right through the storm. And Lynchburg the lead to 8 again. Big time presence down low from 22.
And I think you credit that to, like you said, you felt the track meet vibe kind of slow down. You saw the legs start to get a little bit heavy, and that's just a foul right there where it's hard to play defense when you've been sprinting back and forth at such a constant pace for a long duration of this game. And it's one of those things, you throw your hands up, just even if you do throw a little bit of contact, hopefully you can alter the shot. That time, Taylor Brown just too strong off the glass.
What a performance for so many of these Lynchburg players. Brown, of course, into that all-tournament team at the Gene Edge tournament over the weekend and had one of her best performances in a Lynchburg uniform as the Pacers maintained possession. 16 points, 12 rebound, double-double versus North Carolina Wesleyan. Henderson searching on the entry. Out to her sister Anya. A few dribbles right by the baseline, and unfortunately Shu just went over it. Lynchburg basketball, 2:14 to play. Here's a second look at it. The Hornets going to take every call they can as Audra Petty's back in the game.
And if you're Lynchburg, you got to feel really good about where you're at right now. Just slow things down. 2 minutes left. Kind of got control of this game. You want to maintain it. That's a good way to do it right there.
Hoffman cleans the window. Make it a double-figure lead for Lynchburg, and they're starting to sense it now. The team has shot particularly well in this fourth quarter. In fact, both of them south of 33% from the field. Lynchburg has just capitalized off of these turnovers.
And one thing I want to point out, you mentioned it a little bit earlier, the one question mark for Lynchburg right now is what's the status of Littlejohn, right? You mentioned she's only played 10 minutes this game, and I think you got to credit that a little bit. You saw that at the end of the first quarter, she took a pretty hard tumble and was favoring that wrist when she got up. You got to wonder if that has anything to do with it. So as a Lynchburg fan, as good as you're feeling about a win, you definitely want her to be healthy, and you hope this is just kind of minimizing the damage for her.
Taylor Parker going to the stripe for two. Kevin, let me give you a stat that might seem a little shocking after this game. Lynchburg right now holding on to an 11-point lead. They never won a game last year when trailing at the half. This has been a 21-point swing going back to the halftime score when they were trailing by 10.
Yeah, and I think you could just tell the game plan was completely altered coming out of the half. Everything kind of switched up defensively. Energy and the presence was there. They applied a lot more on-ball pressure, which created some of those turnovers, allowed your fast break opportunities. And then offensively, the same story. You slowed things down. You got away from pressure that the Pacers were applying to you. You found your shooters with some of those high-quality shots we talked about. That's the reason they were able to get back into this game.
Pacers need something quick. Anya Henderson. Few steps too many. Frustrations all around for green and white jerseys. They've got only 80 seconds left to try and find their way, slowly pulling away. Ashley Vandergrift enters again, perhaps offense for defense, and Brooke Kaysen the inbounder. A Lynchburg team that is trying to erase last season, what ended in frustrating fashion, not even making the ODAC tournament. This is a team that has had a professional comeback. Madison Hoffman searching all around, bounce pass into Brown to the corner for Vandergrift. Feet set, ready to fire, but no good. It's like Kira Henderson through defenders, gets the layup, and now there will be a change of the clock. Thought for the moment it might be a timeout impending, but 52 seconds. They'll add a few ticks. 54 seconds to go in the Hill City. Lynchburg up 9. What a performance. Right out in front. 27 points on the day. Lynchburg electing to try and just bleed out the clock. Turnover from Vandergrift. Pacers not done fighting yet. The kick out to Anya Henderson. A few dribbles right to the elbow. No good. Second chance to the corner. Gets it to fall, a bounce to the rim, and a friendly one. 20 seconds. We'll see if the Pacers foul or if they tire. The Hornets are going to go 4-0. Petty fouled as they let a lot of time fall off that clock, and you feel like this Lynchburg team that has shown such a display here in the last 20 minutes is going to feel really happy about it.
Absolutely, and this is kind of one of those opportunities for Lynchburg, and out of conference, right? You got to be battle tested by the time you get to that conference slate. We talk about that so much, but this is such a good game. You go down into halftime trailing by double figures. You're able to come out and just control the tempo the entirety of the second half. Almost everything went your way in this half, and it's thanks to those halftime adjustments, from Coach Nichols and her staff.
Audra Petty trying to extend her career high of 27, misses the front end. Go back to last year's loss. It was the first against William Peace for Lynchburg. There hadn't been a matchup within 10 points since 2012. So you really felt like the Hornets had been stung. It was the same for the first half of this one. 3 games in 4 days. One of the tougher parts of the schedule all season. Lynchburg has the response of a lifetime to make it 4-0 on the overall record. Add a little energy here in Turner Gym. Kevin, you feel like the Hornets really appreciate the effort.
Fight back. Definitely not the first half. They had the script going to plan, but they were able to fight back, find their offensive identity in that second half. Disruptions. Give your offense a chance to get you back in this game. They did exactly.
Obviously, you feel like there's a lot left to be desired after this game. This Lynchburg team has played so well in Turner Gymnasium. You still want to see a full 40 minutes, and that's something that Coach Nichols has harped on early in this year. Talking to us in the pregame conversations, we've seen spurts that have been really good, but we haven't been able to put everything together at one performance. While they didn't need that tonight to get the win, you got to just appreciate that second half to go out there despite not shooting well in the first and deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is just one of those momentum and confidence builders for the team. The entirety of the team coming in and playing, pivotal minutes, whether it was a starter, a bench player, whatever it is, able to come in and contribute to this win, being able to take back the momentum. I think it just build your confidence as you continue to head on into this out-of-conference slate. Obviously, you go on the road to Washington and Lee, first conference game of the year. I think that's going to be a real test for where this Lynchburg team is at.
It's a great measuring stick, but as we said, more basketball in Turner Gym as Sunday, November 30th, Lynchburg host Meredith. 2 o'clock start time right after Thanksgiving. We're going to still be really hungry for some basketball in this gymnasium. A big thanks to everybody who tuned in, and of course our wonderful production crew. On behalf of Kevin Nestor and Joe Brennan, I'm Evan Gates, and so long in the Hill City.